Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Red again. Just another week catching up on the stuff. I actually do have a new story for you that I just experienced. It wasn't one of the better ones, but hey, that's the nature of this business. We do go through ups and downs. So let's get into what we're looking at here. We were talking about the college basketball starting this week, and we did have a few of the games. Looking at the rankings that we're going through, Kentucky and Duke and Michigan State are top three right now. Kentucky is number one, and that's rightfully so. They're 2-0. That's great. Duke is 2-0. Michigan State did lose a game. They are 1-1, which is quite surprising considering the fact Kansas is also in there. They did lose a game, 1-1. They're top five. Um, and I don't know necessarily that I would rank Gonzaga lower than this is just the unanimous poll ranking, right? Considering their points, their total points, or whatever it may be, as far as ranking points goes. Gonzaga to me should be in the top five. They just should be. Same with Maryland. Should be. I think that should be considered one of the top five. I don't believe that the Kansas should be in there above them. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Um, okay, so well, let's go. Let's get into this story. Let's get into the story. So I picked up a guy. This dude, he apparently had about five players or whatever, and so I brought him in under me, and I was actually trying to get him to pay me a weekly per head fee, and I was using my rate to make a buck off of him or whatever it may be. So in the process of taking this guy on, I also did part of the wins losses for the players, and long story short, um, he didn't quite have the financial backing that he said he did, and one of his players beat him bad. And so I had to come out of pocket in order to retain this and retain my name, because then they knew that we were together and yada yada yada. I ended up having to pay this player a bunch of money, and now this guy is MIA. I cannot get a hold of him, and that's just part of the business. I'm sure he'll resurface eventually. We don't. It's not like I would just start doing business with somebody who's a random and all of a sudden think that it was going to be a, a good business proposition. However, I've known this guy a long time, so whenever you're doing these things and you're starting to partner up and talk about money this and money that, and people want to, sell you a pitch about how they're going to help you grow and whatever, just be careful with what you deal with. Um, and the only reason I'm bringing that up is just because if you're a small guy, you're a new guy, and you're not doing the biggest the biggest sheet, I guess. You don't have the 75 players or something like that, or 100 players or 150 players, whatever. You're a 5, 10, 15, 20 guy. You always got to protect yourself. You just always got to look at it in the perspective like, hey, I'm not the richest person, even if you might have a ton of money on your roll and you can handle and absorb a lot. It still doesn't make good business sense to make decisions based on greed and or ego. And that's just how I'll say it. Sometimes the ego needs to be put into check, and people need to look at it from a humility standpoint, like you're not as big as you think. And even if sometimes the players do win, and sometimes they will expect payment. In fact, almost always they'll expect payment, but some players are more understanding especially if it's really big. Um, anyway, so that was my last week event that I went through, and we're just going to keep moving on with that. I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate where I had the money to be able to compensate for that and just deal with it as it goes. If anything, I'll just take the guy's sheet from him and just book those guys myself. Because in the long run, now they're gonna have a problem trusting this guy. That's the biggest issue. Trust is so important in this business. Trusting your first off your provider, right? Like for stability purposes and whatever else. That's part of the reason why I landed on PayPerHead. They're very stable as far as actual records go for anything you can find online about downtimes and whatever else it may be. Um, and other than that, it's also paying your players. That rep will end up coming back to you tenfold over the years as long as you're legit up front. All right, so in NFL news, the 49ers did lose, which is kind of an upset. It was a really tough game. I will hand it to the Seahawks. They always have been, that boomtown defense kind of idea where they make it difficult for people to get a roll going, right? Like get that momentum to just bury them. So, it was a fought game, and San Francisco did fall. Um, what else are we looking at? I think it's the West Coast in general right now is struggling so bad for getting anything to roll. East Coast, Philadelphia is looking good. I'm actually really impressed with Baltimore. They're doing really good still. And I have some of these guys. Like, it's not just that I do this. I also play a little fantasy here and there, and I'm in some leagues and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean the randoms, the little guys are actually performing really well. Some of the bigger names are just duds, and it's interesting to watch. So if you're watching these teams and you sign some people and you're thinking, man, we were supposed to be amazing, and it ended up being kind of duddy. Well, here we are. It's only if we got some time. There's a few more weeks to be able to get some things rolling, but that's how it is. Um, for all the people out there that are curious, you can always try to find some more information. I'm probably going to be doing some articles, some blog articles that you can see a little bit more information on what I'm doing and stuff like that in the future. I'm just really trying to feel out what the deal is with the social media aspects of it, the YouTubes and the Twitters and the whatever else it may be. So if you are around, like, subscribe, and make sure to check back every week because I'm going to be doing this every week for quite some time. Just a few more things I am going to mention. Like I said last week, the live wagering is looking good. I definitely have seen an increase in usage, considering that they have to place a bet in order to watch the TV and the games. Definitely has changed where before some guys would go look at lines and they would see the cost on them because the juice is a little bit higher in the live, which is good for me in the long run, but sometimes it'll deter a guy from placing something where it's, risk 200 to win $8 or something like that, for these crazy money lines that are on there. And also too, I've started looking at implementing some of the money line controls that I'm trying to get in there for at a reasonable rate. Like, I don't want to cut them too much because then a lot of the lines that may come out might be a problem. And again, that is a new feature that wasn't there before, where we could control the money lines on the live wagering platform. So I will keep you updated on that and how that works on functionality wise for me, and see if changing the limits on what I allow it slows down the usage, because right now I'm almost like 90% usage on my sheet where I have everybody active on it, and 9 out of 10 players will use the platform just because of the live TV now. It's been such a game changer for me. So anyways, hope you guys have a great week. Look forward to, giving you some new information, feedback, and also I'll keep you updated on this dude's situation if he comes back around from the dark depths of wherever he is. Have a good one.